Hi, I'm Teresa Nelson. I'm the health coach at the Connecting Care Clinic. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today, I'm just going to cover just a little bit about gluten. That is, gluten is found in melt, rye, and barley. And so for people that have some autoimmune diseases such as celiac disease, really need to be going gluten-free, so avoiding foods with gluten. So I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about some of the symptoms that you might be seeing. So let me give you a list: diarrhea, fatigue, weight loss, bloating and gas, some abdominal pain or some nausea or vomiting, or maybe even constipation. So these can differ between people and differ between children. So if you are having some of those issues, taking gluten out of your diet may be the best course for you. And typically they would like to see you do that some type of a 3 to 6 months time frame, get all of it out. And after that 3 to 6 months, sometimes being able to work some of that in, but for some people, just avoiding all gluten. So let me just go over some gluten-free foods. I do have some behind me I wanted to show you. So some gluten-free whole grains would be quinoa, brown rice, wild rice, buckwheat, sorghum, millet, amaranth. And then oats naturally are gluten-free, but you really have to be careful with that. So buying ones that say they are gluten-free, but they still might cause you some issues, even if they say that. So let me just show you some of those things, okay? So I have red quinoa here. So that's an option to have when you need gluten-free. There's also this tricolor quinoa. And these are nice because they just state it right on there. GF, gluten-free. Here's your amaranth. Okay. I'll show you what that looks like. I apologize, I should have been a little more prepared for that part. Let me just show you what that looks like. It's a little hard because they are very, very small. So just little itsy bitsy round. They're very tiny. I know you can't even see it here on my hand. And then the color of them. So there's the amaranth. Millet. Again, let me show you from the side there. That's what those look like. Show you right from the side. Didn't realize that was clear there. There's the red quinoa. It's just quinoa. And then, so good. So those are just some of those that I had mentioned. And then let me show you this. You do buy this. And I think I've talked about this in other videos. So this is a sprouted rolled oats. And so this one is gluten-free. And so, again, it says it on there. Be careful if you decide to stick with something like this. And it might be something where you just take out of your diet, and maybe this would be something that you might be able to bring back in, being that it's gluten-free. But we just really need to be careful with a lot of processed products that say they're gluten-free, because they just might cross-contaminate. This is another thing that I have kind of on here. This is something relatively new. So this one claims that they're gluten-free. So this Catalina Crunch. So they got several flavors. And, it's got 9 grams of fiber, which is really good. And I'm not going to say that this is a perfect breakfast item or a snack, but it might help, break up the maybe your routine, especially if you're used to having bread for your breakfast or for a snack or something. So grains to avoid, obviously, were the wheat, and that would be like whole wheat, wheat berries, graham, bulgur, farro. So those kind of things, rye, barley, so some things to avoid. So again, then other things that you can have. So really concentrating on all the things that you can have, such as fruits and veggies, just all of them, as long as they're fresh or frozen and not anything added to them. So, you know, just look at grapes, apples, peppers, kiwi. So just a really nice variety. You know, want to be cautious when you're buying like canned fruits and veggies. So again, sometimes they're adding things in there that could have gluten things in there. So you want to be careful with that. Same with the frozen dried fruit. So like raisins, their ingredients, California seedless raisins. That's it. So something like that. As far as protein, legumes, so beans, lentils, peas, peanuts. So again, nuts and seeds, pumpkin seeds, so naturally gluten-free. You know, obviously you want to be always looking at the ingredient list, because you'd be surprised what they had, the things that you would be like, why are they adding that? So for instance, again, nuts, peanuts, you know, these are pretty good. They have peanuts and salt. So we do want to be careful with the salt, but they don't have any added oil or anything else. Sometimes you'll get maltodextrin. So that can be added to the nuts, and that can be something that can be irritating to people with that need to be gluten-free. And then of course, peanut butter is on this list of things that are gluten-free. So having peanut butter, other gluten-free proteins, poultry, seafood, traditional soy foods, so tofu, tempeh, edamame. So those are things, again, looking at that ingredient list. So proteins to double check would be that processed meats, hot dogs, pepperoni, sausage, salami, bacon. So again, a lot of times they'll put some kind of filler in there. That is not real good for people that are trying to do gluten-free or just not trying to eat well. Meat substitutes, lunch meats or cold cuts, ground meats, proteins that have been combined with sauces or seasonings. So those are all ready to eat proteins such as microwavable TV dinners kind of things. So proteins to avoid would be any meat, poultry, or fish that has been breaded, unless you're, you know, breading it yourself with something else. And then proteins that are combined with a wheat-based soy sauce. Okay. So gluten-free dairy products would be milk, butter and ghee, cheese, cream, cottage cheese, sour cream, and yogurt. And again, those are all things that are naturally gluten-free, but we also just need to be looking at that ingredient list. Flavored milks, you want to be watching for, and yogurts, processed meats, cheese sauces and spreads, ice cream, which is sometimes mixed with additives that contain gluten. So, and then avoid malted milk drinks. Let's see, fats and oils. So gluten-free fats and oils, butter, ghee, olives and olive oil, avocados and avocado oil, coconut oil. So really trying to stick with the olive oil or the avocado oil if you're going to be using those. Okay. Be careful of the cooking sprays and other oils with added flavors or spices. Okay. Some beverages that are just naturally gluten-free, water, that 100% juice. So just be careful with that, because that might also have some added sugar of some sort, coffee and tea, lemonade for the most part, again, watching that ingredient list. Let's see, beverages to avoid: beers, ales, and large lagers. So really those contain gluten in there. Non-distilled liquors, and then of course malt beverages such as wine coolers. So those are going to have gluten in them. some gluten-free spices, sauces, and condiments. So tamari, coconut aminos, white vinegar, distilled vinegar, and apple cider vinegar. And then some to double check are going to be ketchup and mustard, Worcester sauce, tomato sauce, relish and pickles, barbecue sauce, mayonnaise, salad dressing, pasta sauces, dry spices, salsa, stock and bouillon cups, cubes. So those are all things that you want to be double checking because they may have some of those ingredients that we want to be careful of. All right, so I wanted to just give you just a quick list of some things to be looking out for when you are outside of, the wheat and the rye, the smelt, the barley, those kind of things that are just kind of really bold things that you would be able to see. Some other things, and I made a little list and I put it on a card for you. And I thought, if you are watching this, maybe you can pause it and you can write these words down. So let me give that to you. I'm going to hold it up there for just a moment. So some other things, modified food starch, which is on the list, maltodextrin, which I have talked about before, just in general. So all of your food products, really, if you're looking at that ingredient list, really trying to avoid that maltodextrin. Malt-based ingredients, malt extract, malt syrup, gluten stabilizer, soy or teriyaki sauce. So those can have gluten in them. Wheat-based ingredients such as wheat protein and wheat flour. And then the emulsifiers, which that is typically a maltodextrin. So hopefully you got this list. I think I did. The one thing I did not say that's on the list is natural flavorings right on the bottom here. And that is in a lot of things. So please be careful with those. Okay. All right. So the one of the things that I think just to kind of take away if you are deciding to do a gluten-free diet is to make sure that you have that variety, getting some grains in as far as what's appropriate, and then having that variety, lots of fruits and veggies. And then of course, beans, and more beans so that your diet is getting plenty of fiber, because a lot of times you take out some of those bread items and you're losing some of that fiber. And so we really want to make sure that we have that variety. The other thing I want to show you quick before we finish up here, this is 7 Sundays. This one does say it's gluten-free cereal. So, if it's something that you're looking for, again, it may not be something that you go to right away as you're trying to transition out of a gluten diet. It might be something that maybe you can bring back in. So again, if you have any questions or concerns, you want to, try this out, you want some guidance, please reach out to me and we can definitely work one-on-one with that. Or if there's a few people, maybe your family or something, you guys are trying to gluten-free, but, remember some of those symptoms and if it's something that's been ongoing, it might be the best route for yourself and your family. So if you need me, you can contact me at the clinic, or you can email me at Teresa, TERESA.Nelson, NELSON @thetacare.org. Thank you so much for joining me and take care.